Shalom Aleichem. It is the week of Mishpatim, and this week Mishpatim we have a triple header. It's Parshas Mishpatim, and it's Shabbos Mevarachim, Chodesh Adar, and it's Parshas Shkolim, where we have three different things going on. We could have a fourth thing, but that fourth thing is canceled this year. What is the fourth thing? Since Shabbos Mevarachim is Shabbos, and Rosh Chodesh is Sunday, that means Motzi Shabbos, so a normal week you would read Haftorah, Machar Chodesh, tomorrow after Shabbos is Chodesh. We don't read this year because Shabbos could come out on Rosh Chodesh a few times a year, but Shkolim only comes once a year, so the Haftorah for Parshas Shkolim is not about Machar Chodesh, it's about Shkolim, about collecting the money for the Beis HaMikdash. So we have a triple header, Mishpatim, Shabbos Mevarachim, and Parshas Shkolim, and not Machar Chodesh. And since Sunday, next Sunday, after Mishpatim will be Rosh Chodesh, first day of the 2 days, Rosh Chodesh Adar, exactly 2 Sundays after that is Purim, the 14th of Adar. And women don't like that because the month after that is Pesach. And some years we have 2 months between Purim and Pesach because of Adar Sheni. We don't have a leap year this year. So next year will be leap year. So let us now talk about Purim a little bit, but we have to talk about Mishpatim. Mishpatim is the first Sedra after Matan Torah where you have some of the Mishpatim. Some of the Mishpatim mean some of the rules. And after getting the Torah at Sinai, what do you think they're going to discuss? And the Mishpatim is all is 53 mitzvahs. Every line is another mitzvah. 53 mitzvahs. Some sedras have 2 mitzvahs, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. This has 53. What do you think is the first sugya, subject they go into detail? Kisikna Eved Ivri, if you buy a slave. Because you were slaves in Mitzrayim and you know exactly how you were mistreated. So don't mistreat your employees. Or a slave, which means he's not an employee. He says, listen, I don't have any money. Don't pay me. Just give me room and board. Take care of me. And I don't need him. And I'll be an indentured slave. It's called Mocher Atzmo. He sells himself. He goes, take care of me. Give me a house, room and board and clothes. And I don't need money. That's one type of evidence. There's another kind that he steals. And he has no assets to sell. So they sell him to work off his stealing. And if he stole $1 million and after 6 years, you have to let him go. After 6 years, if you worked off $500,000, it's tough. He goes free, if he wants to. Otherwise, he can stay with you after he gets his earlobe drilled until Yovel, which is every 50 years. Now, that Yovel could be a week after you drill the ear or 50 years later. So if he's a ganav and he stole and he has no animals and land or assets, they sell him. There's 28 sugyas, 53 mitzvahs in Mishpatim. Before we go into Purim, let me just tell you some highlights of Mishpatim. The first sugya is about an Eved Ivri. There could be selling himself because he's poor, or he was sold because he's a ganav, can't pay it off. And there could be a woman, a father who sells her daughter because he can't support her, Oma Ivriya. And there could be, and then the dinim of Eved Kanani. Eved Kanani, he's sold to you. You buy him in the street, a young, strapping guy. You buy him for life. You can't ever free him. Also to free him. Because you know why? Because when he becomes an Eved Kanani, he's a half a Jew. You have to do all the mitzvahs of a woman. How could you ever sell him? Because then he goes back down again to a guy. There's such 3 things: guy, Eved Kanani, Israel. So he's a half a yid. He has to do the laws of a woman. He doesn't have to put on film and learn Torah. And he's chauffeur, but he has to not do any of the 365 negatives and some of the positives, like a woman. So if you sell him, you're lowering his kedusha. Malin b'kodesh ve'ein moridin. He's a half a yid. If you sell him, you lower him. You can't do that to a human being. And therefore he can never be a ger. Because a ger has to be a free man who chooses to become a ger. He's already not a free man. He has you as a master. When the master dies, he's inherited to the children like the home, like furniture. La'olam b'hem tavodu, you have to work him forever. That's what he wants. That's why he sold himself. But you can never mistreat them, ever. If you knock out any of the 24 major organs, he goes free, you lose your investment. If a Jewish slave, you beat him up and you knock out any one of his 24 organs, you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. Doctor bills, unemployment, tsar, pain, ribu shevis, boshes. So there's a lot of dinim in the Seder. One is called Eved Ivri, Jewish slaves. And then it goes into salt and battery, hey, tashlumim, nezek, tsar, ribu shevis, boshes. If you have an employee or a slave and you nezek, you damage any part of his body, or you have to pay for that. And the tsar, the pain, and the report, the doctor bills, and the shevis, unemployment, sitting home, and boshes, the embarrassment. That's called salt and battery. Then comes mistreatment of employees, chok dalet eivarim, of a dental slave. He goes free. If you damage his 20 digits, fingers and toes and fingers, and then his ears, eyes, there are 4 things. There are 20, and there's 4. The ears is 1, the eyes is 2, the Rosh HaGaviyah is 3, and there's a 4th one. So, if you damage any of those things, he goes free. Forever. You lost your investment. If a Jewish person, you hurt him, anyway, you got to pay for it the rest of your life. They garnish your salary, you have to take care of them the rest of your life. Mistreatment of employees, called Dal Devarim. Then you have Dalit, others Nezikin, the 4 types of damages. Shar, Bar, Mavar, and Heber. Shar is a bull that breaks out of your barn and gores somebody. You're Chaim. If he's a Tom, never did it before, you pay Chatzi Nezek. If he's a Mu'at, he's mad, he's insane, as opposed to Tom, tame, then you pay, if he's a Mu'at, and he did it at least one time for 3 days in a row, in the 4th time, you have to pay Nezek Sholem. You didn't watch him, didn't put enough chain around his neck, or didn't have strong enough barn. He broke out. You're Chaim. It's like lending a person a car and telling him the brakes are no good. And not telling him the brakes are no good. You're Chaim. So, Shar is your animal, your car. Bar is a pit. You in the middle of the street, you drop some glass or a banana peel, someone falls on it, or you dig a hole in the ground. That's a bar. You're Chaim. You can't damage the public property. Maver, that you sent your animals out, they ate another guy's field or trampled it. Shen, the regel b'shen, regel, they walked on it or they ate it. Your car, let's say, and didn't have good brakes and it slipped down the hill and rolled across the street and smashed another car. That's called that's maver. That means your property damaged somebody. Or you shot an arrow into your target in your backyard, but you missed the target and you hit the guy's pool cover and you made a hole in his pool cover or his window or killed his dog or cat. That means your koach, your animal, your car slid down the driveway. That's you're damaged. You're chayim. We have shor bar and hever, a fire. You started a fire. It got out of control. It went into somebody else's yard and burned down the silo or the field or the grains or something. You got to pay for the silo and the money to pay the people who packed the silo and the merchandise in the silo. Or the grain that was burned up and the amount you paid the guy to seed your field, or anything. So these are the 4 adavar of nezikin. Then you have to pay dalad v'hei and kefil and chomish. Sometimes 4 times the animal, sometimes 5 times, sometimes double, sometimes only 20%. Let's say if it's a sheep you stole and you put it in a sack behind your back and they caught you red-handed, they embarrassed you, you were caught as a gunner, you have to pay 4 times the price of the sheep because the embarrassment took away one of the payments. But if it's a bull that you can't put it in the sack, you walk to the street and they discover you stole it from somebody, you pay 5 times because you can't hide it. The busha takes away 1/5. Then sometimes you admit you did it, and you give it back, you pay the keren, the principal, plus 20%. Chamish is not really 20, it's 25%. And sometimes you pay kefil, double. You broke into a guy's house and stole his watch. Meanwhile, you broke his door, which cost $500. $500 plus $50 for the watch. Or you broke a card, which cost $5, and you stole the wine inside. That's $500. You pay $505. That's called shalom yishalim, for the goods and for the things to get the goods. Then there's kefil double. If you're caught and you didn't admit it, they caught you, you pay double. So you have all these things, Daled Behay and kefil, and shalom yishalim could be 50 times the price of the goods. Let's say, I don't know, the ring you stole is $100, but the painting you knocked down is $5,000. That's called shalom yishalim. Kefil is double exactly. All right, that takes care of that. Then the Dalet Shomrim, a paid watchman, a non-paid watchman, a renter, a barterer. This is very complicated. This said it takes most of Shas. And there's Ritzicha, you murdered intentionally or unintentionally. Then kidnapping. And seducing somebody with words. Or Machashefa, a witch that seduces people, or a hypnotist. Not the one for medical purposes. A hypnotist means put you in a trance and you do what they tell you. Machashefa lo sechaya. Shochivim behema, animalism. Sedescens. Zoveich lo Elohim, you sacrifice two other gods. Not le Elohim, two gods, but lo Elohim, no God. You make in your mind, you think it is the man-made religions, which are all religions. Besides Yahadus, which is not man-made, because 3.5 million people heard Hashem's voice, the exact same words, on that certain day, 5 a.m., in the year 2448, on the 7th day of Sivan. It's not a delusion. Because if it's a delusion, then everybody told their kids the exact same lie. Millions of people in the last 3,000 years told them the exact same lie. Really? That's pretty preposterous. So we were not delusionary. We heard Hashem's voice. No nation ever made that claim. Every single human being there, or any ger who would become a ger, and every Jew who will be born, all the neshamas were at Sinai at 5 o'clock in the morning in the 7th of Sivan, 2448, 3,300 years ago. We heard Hashem speaking to us. We're not delusionaries. Because then everybody's lie couldn't be the same lie. And every Sefer Torah in the world is exactly the same. Not one letter could be different. There's one place where it could be different, but through a dako. Dako with aleph or a hey. Aleph Ashkenazim, hey with the Sfardim. Both are 100% right for Ashkenazim or the Sfardim. But there's no suffix about how a word should be spelled. Alright, that's some of the concepts of Mishpatim. Let us go now into Purim. Let us ask if you want to know more about the Parsha, I have 2,380 shiurim on the Parsha in the last 6 years. You want to hear them? Want to hear number 1 or number 2386? Call Kol Halashon. All over the U.S., one number. Here's the number. This is the official station of Kol Halashon, and you're calling B'nai Barak, but it's a local number. Costs you nothing. 1-718-395-2440. Then when you hear them talk, press, because there's 400 Magidei Shir, how are you going to get me? You press 11101. 11101, and you get any one of the 2,380 shurim. You want to know your bar mitzvah, if you want your kids, let's say this August, you go back to last year's August and get the same the sedra. You know how to make it a drasha for the kid. If you want to hear the 78 haftorahs, so when the guy says hello, this is Kol Halashon, you dial 11104. 11104 is all the 78 haftorahs. And 11101 is all the 54 sedras. Now let's ask some of the questions. Every day a new shir. Sunday on Aliyah Aleph, Tuesday on Aliyah Shlishi, Friday on Aliyah Shishi, Motzi Shabbos on Shvi. Let's ask the 4 kashas of Purim. First of all, why is there no Hilchos Purim in the Shulchan Aruch? There's Hilchos Chanukah, Tisha B'Av, Shana, Yom Kippur, everything. Sarah's made shul, everything. Why not Hilchos Purim? Number 2, by the time Esther came around, Esther and Mordechai were prophets, they wrote the Megillah, That was in the beginning of the second bias. Beginning of the second bias, the Tanakh was sealed, finished, over. How did she convince the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah to open up the Tanakh and make an exception for her and put in book number 24, which is Megillas Esther? How did that happen? What proof did she bring that this is part of Tanakh and not just a nice sefer? Why did Klal Yisrael deserve kliya, total obliteration, for going to Achashverosh's party? All the wine was kosher, and all the food was kosher. Because it says there, Kedas ish v'ish. Everybody can order his own wine, his own meat, anything. Just come to the party. The 6 months plush Persian orgy. 6 months, 180 days. Orgy. Why you have to, so it wasn't nice, you associate with Goyim, with kosher food. Why do you have to be obliterated off the face of the earth? Why? Why? Well, you go to a party. Kliya, it would do Paskin total decimation. What's so terrible? Number 4. Why isn't God's name in Megillas Esther? Well, the rest of Tanakh it is. Every book. Almost one, there's one other. Why isn't God's name in Megillas Esther? Also another, that's 4. Now I'll give you another little question. A minyan is only 10 men. Where's there a case where you have 9 men and 1 woman and it's good minyan? Kosher minyan. And another question. 2 minor questions. Can you interrupt a deraisa to do a mitzvah drabanan? Obviously, it has something to do with Purim, right? Can you do that? You want to know the answers? Questions of Purim. Go online. Next week, there'll be the header on Torah Anytime. The questions of Purim. You'll see some of these questions there. These 4 questions will not be there, as I'm going to tell you the answers today. But the other 34 questions will be there. You want to know the answer to these questions? I know you deserve the answers. You're listening. Why no Hilchos Purim in the Shulchan Aruch? Tell you why. You look at the Shulchan Aruch, you say, look, I see all the laws of Purim here. I know. What's the name of the header? Hilchos Megillah. Hilchos Chanukah is Chanukah. Why can't this be Hilchos Purim? Let me tell you the gigantic little secret of the Torah. One of the gigantic little secrets of the Torah. Chanukah has 1 mitzvah only. That's lighting the Chanukah menorah is one of the 7 mitzvahs of the Rabbanim. That can be only on Chanukah. You can't light the Chanukah menorah the day before the 25th of Kislev. And if you do the first light, you miss the first night, you can do the second one, but you missed the first one. Chanukah can only be on Chanukah. But Purim has 1 mitzvah. Reading the Megillah, it does not have to be read on Purim. You read on the 11th of the month, the 12th of the 13th. Of course, the 14th is Yontif, and 15th in Eretz Yisrael is Yontif. But it could be laid on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. It doesn't have to be on Purim. That's why Hilchos Megillah is the main thing. How come? How come? You have to light the Chanukah menorahs on Chanukah. Why don't you have to lay in the Megillah on Purim? How come Yosef you do on the 11th? That's why it's called Hilchos Megillah, because that's the only mitzvah there is on Purim. Chanukah has 1 too. It's Chanukah menorah. That only has to be on Chanukah in Chanukah on the 25th. But this is not Hilchos Purim because the Ikar mitzvah of Purim is the Megillah, and that doesn't have to be on Purim. Yeah, it should be, but you could be Yosef is on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Let me tell you why. Since it's such a mitzvah, Parsume Nisa, to show the world, write a Megillah, and show the world how God saved us miraculously. Miraculously. Parsume Nisa. You have to do it when the people come to town. When people lived in tiny villages and on the hills and farmers, they came to town only 2 days a week to buy goods, to sell goods, to the market, Monday and Thursday. Monday and Thursday they read the Torah for that reason. Because you couldn't go a week. You can't go 3 days without learning Torah. So Monday and Thursday is There's no 3 days of without Torah. Shabbos is one, Sunday, you know Torah, Monday you learn the Torah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday you learn the Torah. Friday, no, Shabbos you learn the Torah. You can't go 3 days without learning Torah. So they have Monday, Thursday. Since you read the Torah, they read the Megillah too, and the courts are open, and the Beis Din is open. Now, if you work it out, if let's say Purim comes out not on a Monday or Thursday, let's say it comes out on a Sunday. Well, the next day is Monday. It's too late. So what do? Sunday is Purim, the 14th. Shabbos, you can't read it at 13th. Friday, no, it's at 12th. But Thursday, you can read that's 11th. Because you're going to be there on Thursday for the market. Let's say Purim is on Friday. You're not going to be in town. So read it. That was the 14th Friday. So read it the 13th. Thursday. Let's say Purim is on Wednesday. 14th. So Tuesday is the 13th and Monday is the 12th. 11th, 12th, and 13th when it always comes out on Monday or Thursday. That's why, and then you're Yosef. Sure, the Chatchila, you should be in a minyan, a big thing on Purim on the 14th, but let's say you can't do it. You're Yosef on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Therefore, reading Megillah doesn't have to be on Purim. That's why it's Hilchos Megillah, not Hilchos Purim, because the Iker mitzvah is Megillah, and there are no other mitzvahs. The other 3 things are minhagim, called Matanas Avyanim, Shlach Manas, and Sudas Purim. Yeah, they're called mitzvah. That doesn't mean they're really mitzvah. They're only minhagim. Like it says, it's a mitzvah to go to the mikveh erev for men. Erev Yom Kippur. There's no such mitzvah. It's a nice deed. It's a nice thing. Don't mitzvah deraisa. We don't have no tefillah today except for women. That's a deraisa. Men don't have any mitzvah tefillah. Mitzvah means a good thing to do. It's proper. It's a very chashuv thing. So that's why that's the answer to the first question. Why no Hilchos Purim in the Shulchan Aruch? Number 2, how did Esther convince Anshe Knesset Gadolo to insert Megillus Esther into Tanakh after it was closed, sealed, and finished? She said to them, this was written by Nevuah. They said, can you prove it? She said, yeah. Haman was Amalek. He was Agagi, he was a Maliki, right? He was going to wipe out all the Jews in one day. In the Torah, the destruction of Amalek is 2 places. And the B'Shalach last week, it says, Vayov Amalek. And then Kiseitse, Zchor She'oseh L'cha Amalek. If you add up the words in those 2 places, it's 167. The Megillah has exactly 167 Pesukim. Ooh, they said that does it. It's Nevuah. Put her into the Tanakh. 167 Pesukim. Then there's another proof. It says in there, what does it say in a Gemara somewhere, that Ksov Zos Basefer. No, in Parshas Zohar, Ksov Zos Basefer. Write this in a book. Ksov Zos Basefer. Ksov is one time in the Chumash in B'Shalach. Zos is in Kiseitze. Basefer is in Nach Shmuel Aleph, where Shaul kills Amalek. Everybody killed except the king. So he said Chazaka 3 times. It's one in Parshas B'Shalach, V'yov Amalek. Then Parshas Zohar, Kiseitze, and the 3rd time, the Shaul not only they battled with Amalek and B'Shalach, and then Moshe told Yeshua, write this, and when he repeated the Torah in Devarim, 2nd time about Amalek, and the 3rd time about battling Amalek is in Shmuel, about Shaul HaMelech, who wiped out the whole town except the king, Agag. Interesting, huh? Schos 3 times, so you have to put it in the Tanakh. Put Megillah Esther in the Tanakh. Okay, Rabbi said, next question. Why did Klal Yisrael deserve Kliya, alliteration, for attending the party of An Shver, which was kosher wine and kosher meat? Rabbi said, it was a kosher food, but treif atmosphere. They talk about the gold and the silver mats, beds. What do you think they were doing there? Just sleeping in those beds? Open, blatant Gilu Arroyos. When you look at that or be there, you're poisoning your soul is far worse than poisoning your body with treifah food. The body is a physical thing, it disintegrates, and the neshama never disintegrates. A person has to eat, animals eat too. We have a neshama, animals don't have a neshama. You contaminate your neshama by that stuff. Those who say poisoning your neshama, that's 1,000 times worse than eating treif. We don't care about the kosher food. Moshe went there, Mordechai went. Every day they told Jews not to do it. They're destroying their neshama. 180 days, 6 months, plush Persian orgy. That's why they deserve. And they were far higher than we are today. They had a Navi as a leader. We have no Navi for the last 2,000 years. They had Mordechai and Esther who wrote the book in Tanakh. Far higher than we. So you say, well, they went to this dirty party. And Rabbi said, you have to learn Tanakh correctly. There was a door that was roifer with a Navi. We don't have a Navi today. He did this terrible thing. Highly attractive party. He was so frightened to the Jews. He wanted to get him into the atmosphere. Haman said, there's a nation that doesn't follow our religion, let's wipe them out. And they're no good. And they have, every day they say, Shabbos Hayom, Yom Tov Hayom is another thing. Got to kick up the work, boss. Got to bris. I got to leave early for the Chatzon. I can't. The Erev Yom Kippur, I got to take off. A Tisha B'Av, I can't come in. Oh, they have these rules and regulations. Haman said, come on, get rid of them. So he wanted to assimilate them, like Napoleon wanted to do with in France the Sanhedrin. He made all Jews decide their own laws, and tolerant Jews could do anything they want, practice their religion. That was a way to assimilate the Jews in France. The Chaim understood that was disaster for the assimilation of Jews in France. When you're very, very over-friendly with Jews, that's very dangerous. In the verse up to 100 years ago, the church wanted to kill us. Now the church wants to kiss us into submission. Jews for J. Can't do it one way, they try the other way. Napoleon understood it, so did Achashverosh. Kill them with kindness. You get him. Bilam understood it perfectly. He couldn't curse the Jewish people, but he told Balak, bring in the women, and their God will kill them. Therefore, when they caught Bilam, they cut him in pieces. Pinchas did. Cut him up in pieces. Now let's go to some of the questions of Purim. Oh, maybe we didn't finish that last one. Why is no Shem Hashem in Megillas Esther? You know why? Because everybody hated Haman, not only Jews. He was a vicious dictator. They hated him. And they're glad he was executed, put in the gallows he made for Haman, for Mordechai. They were very happy. So if they would have put in God's name, they would have erased the name of God, put in their God's name, and said, look, our God protected us. He was against us too. He was a vicious person. All the people hated him. He was a dictator. He was worse than Achashverosh. So they would have put in God's name. So he didn't put in Hashem's name. It's written in code language. It's called HaMelech. So when it says HaMelech, Achashverosh, that means him. And it means HaMelech means Hashem. The Goyim, they wouldn't see God's name in there, so Melech wouldn't mean nothing to them. But we know HaMelech means Hashem. There's one other book in 24 that doesn't have God's name in it. You know what it is? Shin Hei Shin. Shir HaShirim. It has God's name in code. It's called Shlomo. Sometimes Shlomo means Shlomo Melech. Sometimes Shlomo means Melech Shasholem Shalom, the king that has absolute peace. Why didn't they want to put God's name openly, explicitly in Shir Shirim? Because Shlomo was the Chacham Mikol Adam, wrote a book about how the neshama longs to go home to God like a woman longs for a man. And the fools of the world will think it's a love story book because they don't understand the deeper meanings of it. So they'll make this a love book, a romance book, and they will, as a Chil Hashem, so therefore God's name is not supposed to be in there. But we understand it's like the neshama wants to meet his maker. When a person gets up to bat in a baseball game, his purpose is to come home. First, second, third base, come. That's why he got up at bat, to hit a home run. Every single person. They want to make a home, come home. When you're born, that's preparation to coming home, to meet Hashem again after these miserable 70, 80 years. Or good. Just here for a recess. So when you were there a million years before you came here, and you're going to be there a million years after you leave, it's only a little 15-minute recess here. The purpose of the neshama is to meet the Hashem, like the Kala is met by the Chassan at the wedding. Some of the Chassan walk down and meet the Kala. So fools of the world think Shir Shirim is a love story. So they don't want Hashem name in such a book. But we know Shalom means Shlomo means Hashem. Now let's ask some of the questions of Purim. Where do we see in the Megillah the date the 10 Nazis were court criminals were hung? Where do we see that? Similar to the 10 Nazis, Haman's 10 sons who were hanged. Actually, correctly, we hung a picture. We hanged the perpetrator. Hanged, right? Where do we see in the Megillah the date the 10 infamous Nazi war criminals were hung? The date. That's right. The date. Similar to the Haman's 10 sons who were hanged. Where do we see in the Megillah the Khmelnytsky massacres, where Bogdan Khmelnytsky, a renegade against the Polish government, wiped out 100,000 Jews in a year and a half? And then they caught him and they decapitated him in public. Where do you see that remez in the Megillah? And where do you see the date of the start of the Second World War in the Megillah? You want the answers to that? Of course. Where do you see the date where the 10 Nazis were hanged in Nuremberg? There were 11 Nazis. One committed suicide the night before. There were 11 children of Haman. One committed suicide, the woman. And there were 10 hanged. There were 11 Nazis. One committed suicide the night before, and 10 were hanged. At the end of Megillus Esther, Gimel Tes, the 3 small letters of the sons of Haman, I mentioned all the names there, the 3 small letters are Tav Shin Zayin. In the spelling of the names of Haman, the names are spelled with these letters, but these 3 letters are small, Tav Shin Zayin. Tav Shin Zayin is 707. And then there's have one son that has extra long Vav, Vayizasa. Vav means the 6th millennium, 5,000. Like today we're in the 21st century, but it's 2,000. 5,707 is 1946. Isn't that interesting? In 1946, just like the 10 sons of Haman, there's 707 with the long Vav, 5707. In our secular counting, it's 1946. And isn't it interesting that on Purim, Stalin dropped dead, 1953. And on 1991, Saddam Hussein was defeated by President George Bush the first. Interesting, huh? Now we have 2 weeks, 3 weeks to Purim. Let's see what happens in Persia, which we call today Iran, right? Let's see what happens this year. Where do you know that Khmelnytsky massacres happened in the year 1648 and 49, which is called Gezeres Tov Ches 408. It's 5,408. How do you know? Because in the Megillah you have 2 jumbo letters. One is a Ches in the beginning, Chur Kappas V'Tchein is big letters. At the end, a Tichto of Esther is a big Tov. Tov and Ches, Chacham and tell us that's the year 408. 5,408, which is 1648. Khmelnytsky massacres. And where do you see where the Second World War started on? We see the remez in the Megillah. Look at the 5th chapter of Eicha, not this Megillah. Eicha. Only 5th chapter. The 5th chapter starts, Oy mehoyelonu. Oy zechar Hashem mehoyelo. Look what happened to us. And this is a reference to the 6 million. How do you know? Because there's 6 words in the 5th chapter that is spelled missing a letter. If you add up the gematries of the words which have missing letters, like the word hibit, without an aleph, and ain, without a vav, and lo, missing a vav, and einam, missing a vav, anachnu, missing a vav, v'noshuv, missing a vav, it totals 698. And they happen to be the 5th chapter of Eicha, 5698, 1939. And that year in Hebrew is Tov Reish Tzadiches, Tirtzach. There'll be a Retzach, a slaughter. Remember Hashem, what happened to us? Schar Shem Ahoyilonu. In the year Tov Reish Tzadiches, Tirtzach, slaughter. Next question. 2. What is Purim Katan? What is Shushan Purim Katan? What is Shushan Purim? What is Pesach Sheni? What is Purim Mishuleshes? Triple Purim, what is that? Number 2. The first Purim in a year with 2 Adars. Well, the first Adar, which is not Purim, is Purim Katan, which means you have to not say Tachanon and a few things you can't do. It's a month before Purim. 2. What is Shushan Purim Katan? The day after Purim Katan. What is Shushan Purim? The day after the regular Purim. What is Pesach Sheni? The 14th day of Iyar, month after Nisan. And for your Tama, you can make it a month later, the Korban Pesach. And Purim Mishaleshes. In Yerushalayim, 3 days Purim. It only can happen in Yerushalayim. And they read Megillah, and Matanis have Yonam on a Friday. Yudal and Iyar. On the Shabbos Tes Vav, they can't read the Megillah. They say Al Nisim, and they read Parshas Amalek. And on Sunday they have the Suda and Shlach Manos, so they have 3 days Purim, Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday. That's called Purim Mishuleset. We do it all on Friday, right? On the 14th, because that's the regular day, 14th. But you're trying to keep it on the 15th. So what they do, they can't read the Megillah on the 15th. So on the 14th, they read the Megillah like the rest of the world. On the 15th, they say Al Nisim. And the 16th, they have a party. That's called Purim Mishuleshes. What are the 9 major Yom Tovim and the 12 minor Yom Tovim? I have a sefer coming out in a couple of weeks called, like my first sefer, the Floss of Torah, the gigantic little secrets of the Torah, and then the next line is the Q&A on the 17 major and minor Yom Tovim. You want to know some of the major and the minor Yom Tovim? I'll tell you the 9 major and the 12 minor. 9 and 12 is 21, but it's really 17. Let me tell you the 9 major. Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos, Shmini Atzeres, that's 4. Rosh Hashanah and Kippur is 6. Chanukah is 7. And Purim is 8. Rosh Chodesh is 9. The minor is Tu B'Shvat, Tu B'Av, Purim Katan, Pesach Sheni, Erev Pesach, because it's the Yom Tov, Isru Chag, after every Yom Tov, Lag BaOmer, Shabbos Chazon, Shabbos Gadol, Shabbos Shuvah, Shabbos Shira, and Shabbos Nachamu. Okay? 4. There is a Megillas Esther for Purim in the Tanakh, and there's a Masechta Megillah for Purim in the Gemara. Why is there no Megillah of Chanukah or any sefer in Tanakh about Chanukah? Good question, huh? Purim has a Masechta, it's called Megillah, and it has a sefer called Megillah Esther. Chanukah has no sefer in Tanakh, no Mishnah, and no book in Tanakh. Chanukah does not Megillah Chanukah. That Megillah Chanukah, that's nothing, that's not Tanakh. Answer. Chanukah occurred after Tanakh was sealed. That takes care of that. And Megillah Esther was the last entry in Tanakh, 210 years earlier. Because Chanukah was in the middle of the second bayis, and Megillah Purim was the beginning of the second bayis. Also, Rabbi, who's the author, the editor of the Mishnah, he was from Yehuda, Schwab in Yehuda. He was angry that the Chashmonaim and the Chanukah usurped the Malchus. They have right to take the Kohuna, but they have no right to take the Malchus because they're from Yehuda, they're not from Levi. Therefore, he omitted in Shas any Sechta for them. He was angry at them. Number 5, and then we'll end. And the rest you have to go online here, and in a few days it'll be up. Get all the questions and answers. It'll be up by after Rosh Chodesh next Sunday. 5. When did Purim occur? When did Chanukah occur? Why did each occur? Can you name 3 of the 109 other Purims celebrated throughout the world in different countries? When did Purim occur? At the beginning of Bayis Sheni. They defeated Bnei Haman. That's why we have a holiday. When did Chanukah occur? In the middle of the second Bayis Sheni, because of the defeat of the Syrian Greeks. Name some other Purims, and the Shulchan Aruch says if a big nace happens to you or your family or your city, you have a right to make a Purim, they call it Purim, and celebrate that day, any day in the calendar, every year forever. There's one Purim called, in Spain, Purim Zaragoza. Saragossa. It's a very big miracle that happened to people of Saragossa. Google it. There's Purim Vince in Frankfurt. Vincent Fettmilch, who killed a lot of Jews and then they executed him publicly. The good Germans. Purim Vince, because his name is Vincent Fettmilch, Frankfurt, Germany. And Pulver Purim, the powder Purim in Danzig, 1803, where the Chaim Adam's life was saved because he lived in Danzig. And a powder magnesium factory blew up and he was saved. There was 100 different Purims. Google it, you'll find them. 6. One more. What are the 4 mitzvahs of Purim? Why don't we say Hallel on Purim? The 4 mitzvahs, Kriyas HaMegillah day and night, Suda by day, which includes getting a bit inebriated, high, not stoned, that's for Goyim. Mitzvah, it says, L'chai Adam lebesuma b'puri, it doesn't say l'shaker. Lebesuma, to be in good smelling, in a good mood, that's all. Not to get shikr, that's a chilul Hashem. That's what Goyim do, not what B'nai Torah do that. Yeah, from Jews, misguided Jews, who don't understand what that means. They make a chilul Hashem, that's the opposite of anything. That's the worst. You can't talk properly and you regurgitate, chas v'sholem, or lay on the street, on misunderstanding of Yahadus. You're immature. You know what it means? It means chilul Hashem is 1,000 times worse than any other you can do. So getting a little bit inebriated, yes, you drink 1, so you drink 2. I happen to drink 10, it doesn't bother me. But I get a little good mood, but I don't lose myself, chas v'sholem. Never. Chayv Adam lebesuma, to be in the state of besumim, good, you feel good. Doesn't mean shikr. Matanas of Yonim is, that's the Sudas Purim, that's 1, the getting drunk a little bit. And Matanas of Yonim is 2. And Mishlach Manos is 3. Also, we don't say Hallel, because we read the Megillah. That's 45 minutes of praising God that's the Hallel. For Purim, we say it on Hanukkah, because you have to thank God for the miracle of saving you on Hanukkah. The Hanukkah. Purim, we tell the whole story. Why do you have to say Hallel? That is the story of Persum and Esau. We thank God for saving us. Now, Rabbi Isai, we are finished with the 6 questions and some of the first 4 questions on Purim. If you want to learn more, tune into my Kol Haloshen every day of the week, every day of the year, even Moti Shabbos. 1-718-395-2440, and then if you want to hear the Parsha, after the guy starts talking, you dial 11101, and if you want to hear the Haftarahs for that week or that Yontif, 11104. Zay Gesund. Friday Purim.